Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Ernest Jeffrey. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. Another week in the NFL is coming around the corner. This time it's Week 11, and Week 10 brought us a lot of thrillers in the NFL. You have more buzzer-beating field goal wins than any other week in NFL history. A lot of upsets. It was crazy. Will this week in the NFL be just as crazy? I'm going to do my best to preview and predict every single Week 11 NFL game and see which teams I think will win. Now, to start out on the Thursday night Prime Video game, you've got a better matchup than last week's game between the Panthers and Bears. This time, it's the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore is 7-3, and Cincinnati is 5-4, so both teams are having a pretty good year, but both teams have also suffered losses that they wish they could have back. I think that the Bengals have had more performances where they've struggled, but partly that's been because of Joe Burrow's health this season, but he has been getting healthier. He did struggle a bit last week with 2 interceptions, but still Joe Burrow's been playing better lately. Lamar Jackson didn't play his best game last week either. In the Ravens loss, he had 2 interceptions, but still I do think because Baltimore is at home and the fact they've looked better overall this season than Cincinnati, I'm going to go with Baltimore to beat the Bengals 28-21. This should be a really good matchup on Thursday Night Football, but I think that Baltimore will edge out Cincinnati. This week there are no Sunday morning football games, no more games in Germany or England right now, but you got the Sunday afternoon matchup starting with the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to the Cleveland Browns. Both of these teams are 6-3. Both teams are actually playing better than most people were expecting at the beginning of the year. Kenny Pickett, he hasn't been putting up fantastic stats or anything, but he's been doing enough to help Pittsburgh get wins. And Cleveland, they've had a quarterback carousel with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, P.J. Walker, and Deshaun Watson all getting snaps this year at the QB position, but Deshaun Watson's back and healthy, and Cleveland was able to get a huge win last week over the Baltimore Ravens. That was definitely a game that I don't think a lot of people were necessarily expecting the Browns to win, but they were able to get the dub. And I do think that the Cleveland Browns have been playing better on offense than the Pittsburgh Steelers. If Pittsburgh's defense can shut down Cleveland's offense a lot in this game, I do think they can win, and if Kenny Pickett doesn't make mistakes. But with it being at home and the fact that Cleveland does look better on offense, I will go with the Browns to beat the Steelers 24-20. And you've got the Chicago Bears traveling to the Detroit Lions. Chicago is 3-7, and they were able to beat the Carolina Panthers last week, but they still aren't a great team. Whether it's been Justin Fields or Tyson Bagent at quarterback, both have struggled this season, even though I still think that the O-line is a big reason why. The Lions, Jared Goff's had a good year. They've got good talent all around. I think this is a game that Detroit should win 31-13 over the Bears. Unless the Bears play a really good game, I don't see this one being that close. Then you got the Los Angeles Chargers traveling to the Green Bay Packers. The Chargers are 4-5, and the Packers are 3-6. Jordan Love has not been playing terrible football the last couple weeks, but Green Bay's still struggling to get wins, and it's always tough to win in Lambeau Field. It's one of the toughest environments in the NFL, but the Chargers, they're having a massive struggle this season, being one game under 500, something that most people were not expecting at the beginning of the year. Justin Herbert is putting up good stats. Austin Eckler's back healthy, but the Chargers still can't get it all together. I think they're going to bounce back here and find a way to get back to 500 on the season and try to save their fading playoff chances. I will go with the Chargers to beat the Packers 31-17. Then you got the Las Vegas Raiders traveling to the Miami Dolphins. Las Vegas pulled out a close win over the New York Jets last week on Sunday Night Football, but now they're having to play at Miami, and Miami is 6-3 on the year, and the Dolphins were on a bye last week, so that's definitely going to help out the Dolphins, especially after they were not able to win the week before that. I think Tua Tagovailoa is going to get his connection going back again with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Miami does have a pretty good ground game, and their defense, while not one of the best in the NFL, does have some talent on that side of the ball, and Las Vegas is really struggling on the offensive side of the ball, whether it's been Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback or Aiden O'Connell. I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins to beat the Las Vegas Raiders 28-14. This is a game that the Dolphins should win. Then you got the Washington Commanders at home playing against the New York Giants. The Giants have one of the biggest messes at the quarterback position of any team in the NFL. Daniel Jones is out injured. Tyrod Taylor's out injured. And then they got Tommy DeVito and Matt Barkley as their 2 quarterbacks that are able to play right now. And Tommy DeVito couldn't get anything going last week on offense. Neither could Saquon Barkley, because the Giants' offensive line is one of the worst in the NFL by far. And the Commanders, they're not a perfect team, but Sam Howell's been putting up better stats than most people probably think that he is. He is having a pretty good year, and I think that the Commanders' defense should easily be able to shut down an anemic New York Giants offense. I'm going to go with the Commanders to beat the Giants 24-10. Then you got the Dallas Cowboys traveling to the Carolina Panthers. This is a game that the Cowboys, as long as they play well, they're going to win. They do not need need to play like they did against the Arizona Cardinals and show mercy to the Panthers, because Dallas is better on both sides of the ball. On offense, they're way better than the Panthers. On defense, they're better than the Panthers. Dak Prescott is putting up pretty good stats this year. He's top 10 in most stats in the NFL at the quarterback position this year. Bryce Young has struggled as a rookie, definitely not playing nowhere near as well as C.J. Stroud has been. It is at Carolina, but I just don't think it's going to be a close one. I'm going to go with the Cowboys to beat the Panthers 31-10. Then you got the Tennessee Titans traveling to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville got destroyed last week by the San Francisco 49ers, and yes, San Francisco is a talented team, but after the 49ers have lost 3 games in a row, they came back with a vengeance and destroyed Jacksonville. But I do think with Jacksonville being at home and they're playing a Tennessee Titans team that cannot get much going on the offense, I do think Will Levis has been playing better than Ryan Tannehill, but it hasn't been enough, and their offensive line isn't the best. Derrick Henry's trying, but he's not putting up the stats he used to. As long as Trevor Lawrence does not have a multiple interception game like he did last week, I think Jacksonville should win. I'll go with the Jaguars to beat the Titans 28-17. Then you have the Arizona Cardinals traveling to the Houston Texans. It's the final 1 o'clock game in the Week 11 slate in the NFL. Arizona's got Kyler Murray back, and they were able to win last week over the Atlanta Falcons. Maybe that will be a bit of a momentum booster for the Cardinals. Kyler Murray wasn't perfect, but he definitely showed off his legs and his arm a bit in that game. But C.J. Stroud is playing great football. His stats for a rookie are absolutely insane. He only has 2 picks all year. He has a fantastic QBR, and the Texans defense has been better than a lot of people were expecting as well. Will Anderson's playing well, and they've got some other guys performing at a high level on that side of the ball as well. I do think Kyler Murray will make this game a bit interesting, and the Cardinals do look a bit revamped since his return from injury, but I'm going to go with the Houston Texans to keep it rolling and move to 6-4 on the season with a 27-17 win over the Arizona Cardinals. Then you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the San Francisco 49ers at 4:05. Baker Mayfield's questionable for this game, but I do believe that he will be available for this game. All signs are pointing that he will be able to play, but will it make a difference? As long as San Francisco plays the way they did against the Jacksonville Jaguars last week and in the first 5 games of the season where they won all those games, they should win easily. But if they play the way they did in that 3-game losing streak, they could lose. But I do expect the San Francisco 49ers to build off that great performance against the Jacksonville Jaguars last week. They should be able to shut down Baker Mayfield, who has not had a lot of time to throw this season for the Buccaneers. He has been injured a lot, so how healthy he will be in this game will be key in how well he plays. I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 31-17. Then you got the New York Jets traveling to the Buffalo Bills. This should be a game that the Buffalo Bills easily win, but what is going on with the Bills? They're 5-5 on the season, and they're out of the playoff picture right now. Josh Allen's been throwing way too many interceptions. He's not running the football as much, which is definitely helping out his health, but since he's staying in the pocket, it has made it a lot easier for defenses to pick him off because the offense is more predictable. Buffalo doesn't have the best ground game in the world, but the New York Jets offense has been bad the last couple of weeks. Zach Wilson's trying, but the offensive line isn't really giving him a lot of help, and he has been off on some throws. If the Jets offense was better, then I would pick them to win, but I will go with the Buffalo Bills to bounce back. They need this win to stay in the playoff race to win 21-14 over the New York Jets. But if Buffalo keeps making mistakes and they turn the ball over as much as they did in their last week's loss to the Denver Broncos, then the Buffalo Bills can definitely lose this game to the Jets. Then you have the Seattle Seahawks traveling to the Los Angeles Rams. The Seahawks are 6-3 and the Rams are 3-6. Matthew Stafford is questionable for this game. He's been banged up just like he was the year before, which has definitely not helped out the Rams when trying to win games this season and last year as well. Puka Nacua is a good receiver. Cooper Kupp has been playing well since his return from injury, but I do believe that since Matthew Stafford, even if he plays, is more likely not going to be 100%, and the fact that Seattle's been playing really well on the offensive side of the ball. Geno Smith's putting up good stats with his great trio of receivers and Kenneth Walker on the ground, and it is true that Seattle is not the best road team in the world. They are a much better home team. I'm still going to go with Seattle to beat the Los Angeles Rams 31-17. And then you've got the Sunday night football game with the Minnesota Vikings traveling to the Denver Broncos. Minnesota's 6-4 and Denver is 4-5. Now, on paper, you would think that Minnesota would be able to win this game because of the fact they probably have more talent on both sides of the ball than Denver. But the Broncos with Sean Payton head coach, you can see a change. Denver is not the same team that they were last year. They're 4-5, playing better football, and if they can win this game, they can get themselves back in the playoff picture. Russell Wilson's playing better football than he has played in probably 3 years, and you look at the fact that Denver's defense has been stepping up lately as well. They're playing opportunistic football. You can tell that they believe after that win over the Chiefs, a flip has switched with the Denver Broncos. They just look better than they've been in probably 5 or 6 years. But Minnesota, though, with Kirk Cousins out for the year, you would think they would fall apart and throw in the towel. But Joshua Dobbs is coming from the Arizona Cardinals, and he's playing great football. A lot of people are surprised that Joshua Dobbs is playing this well. He's playing hard, wanting to keep that starting job, and the Minnesota fans believing in him. I think this is going to be a really good Sunday night football game, a game early in the season I wouldn't have thought would have been close, but since Denver's playing better, that's not going to be the case. I will go with the Minnesota Vikings to beat the Denver Broncos 28-27 on Sunday night football, but the Denver Broncos, if they play like they did last week against the Bills, will have a shot to win. Then you move on to the Monday night football game. You've got the game of the week in the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to the Kansas City Chiefs. Jalen Hurts versus Patrick Mahomes. Now, Jalen Hurts did get banged up in their last game, so his health will be key in Philadelphia's quest to try to get this win. If he's not 100%, that will damper their chances because he has to be able to use his legs just as much as he has to use his arm to be able to help Philadelphia's offense out. But the Eagles have a really good defense as well. They're good on both sides of the ball. They only have one loss for that reason because they're such a complete team. But it's in Arrowhead, though, and that's one of the toughest places to play in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, he's had a couple of shaky games this season, but still overall he's playing well. And Travis Kelce, still one of the best tight ends in the NFL. Kansas City's defense is kind of interesting. Sometimes they play really well, and then in other games they have bad performances. So it's going to be a really interesting matchup. I could see either team winning this game, and I don't blame anybody for picking the Chiefs or the Eagles because there is arguments both ways. But since it's at home and Jalen Hurts might be a bit banged up, even though he will play in this game, I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the Philadelphia Eagles 27-24 on Monday Night Football. But this is definitely the game of the week in the NFL, and there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on this game, and it's definitely well-deserved. This should be a fun one for sure. But those are the Week 11 games in the NFL. There are only 4 teams with buys this week. You got the Atlanta Falcons, the Indianapolis Colts, the New England Patriots, and the New Orleans Saints. They're all taking a break this week. The Patriots and the Falcons, they definitely need the break because they're really struggling right now. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about the Week 11 games in the NFL and what you think about my picks for every game and which teams you think will ultimately win or lose these games. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I will see you next time.